So what I'd like to talk to you about tonight is an exhibition proposal and offer you a teaser of what may come in the years down the line after 2019 or thereabouts. So it's a good ways out. Push button war, video games and warfare. But first, a confession. I'm a gamer. Since 2006, as you note there, I've logged about 700 hours on PC alone. That's a lot of time spent playing games like Team Fortress 2 and other fun stuff like that. I have wasted my time. That is 700 hours or more. It's actually more like 900 now of time I could have spent writing that next book, working on my social media profile, or running charity runs or something. You do that. But I'm comforted by the fact that I'm not alone. 45% of parents play video games with their kids. The average age of a gamer is 37. I'm 35. And it's a $30 billion business. The breadth of this business is captured in some other numbers. Halo, one franchise with $3.4 billion in sales, 21 billion multiplayer matches, and in those matches, 136 billion kills. 108 billion people is the total amount of people who have ever lived. This cultural moment of video games is being captured and finally recognized as something more than just a hobby or waste of time. It's a cultural platform. The Smithsonian, Vancouver Art Gallery, the MoMA are all gathering, collecting, and displaying on video games. And so it's our turn, War Museum. War games have a long history. They date back to 1644, table games designed to get generals and officers thinking in terms of cards and using cards to plot battles rather than men. And the first video games resemble those tabletop games. Armchair generals playing on hexagonal fields, allocating resources drawn from historical conflicts like the Second World War. And now we're moving into a period with not armchair generals, but armchair privates as we go from niche market to mass market. Games like Call of Duty, Medal of Honor find their way, and they're a massive market, and everybody is playing them, including soldiers in the field taking a break from soldiering. So war provides a great deal of interest. It moves news stories, it moves people, it moves nations, and history provides the wars in these video games. Many of the ones, the best-selling ones, are drawn from historical fact. This is an exhibit in my gallery, the Goldberg Gallery. I call it the Call of Duty case because the kids aged 12 to 18, the boys, gather around it and they debate the merits of an MP5 versus a C7 on the M16. And the fact is that these games are a gateway to something that is very current and very realistic and blurs the lines between play and real life. This is looks like a drone strike. It's actually a graphic from one of the Call of Duty games. The future is being explored in these war games, future of warfare, future of medicine. This is a cybernetic arm developed for the Deus Ex franchise, which may find its way into our exhibition, we shall see. And another thing I'd really like to have is the John 117 monument, which was developed for the Halo 3 game release. If you look on the trailers online, you will actually see this massive diorama. Showcases a monumental battle, heroism, sacrifice. But a game about an exhibition about games would be incomplete if we didn't explore some of the problems around it. It minimalizes and trivializes injury. Injury is not just an inconvenience, it's a life-altering event, and you can't walk away or turn it off. You have to deal with it. There are some severe gender issues with how soldiers are represented in these games as macho supermen built like fridges. That's not who soldiers are, it's not necessarily what they do, and as I mentioned here, don't get me started on women in games. It's a Hawkeye initiative. The other thing I would say is that war in these games is often sanitized. Until very recently, you didn't come across innocence in games. Anyone who crosses the screen is fair game. That's beginning to change. That's a graphic from Modern Warfare 2, where civilians are visibly caught in the crossfire. And we have a situation where, owing to the plot elements of the single-player campaigns, you might be called upon to observe a war crime taking place, torture, these sorts of things that have caused the International Committee of the Red Cross to actually investigate international humanitarian law in video games. The problem is that it's fun. It's great to fly in a helicopter and throw a knife and pin your friend to the floor from 20 feet away. It's great, but what does that say about gamers? What does it say about games? What does it say about war in video games? And these are just a couple of the issues I'd like to explore in this exhibition. It's coming up. Hopefully I've piqued your interest and start a conversation which will continue into 2019. Thank you.